Welcome to the final stage of Squirm vs. Blue Zone Comms, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. We've brought to you here a lovely show here to close out the big finale of this big train wreck, this wondrous stupor, this thing with good gameplay.
So that was a terrible one.
I'm going to fuck your face.
You fucked up
this
my
boss.
face.
I'm sorry.
Am I the only
This
one
boss
that
is
thinks-
kind of boring.
Yeah, okay. I'll say this. For all the spectacle you get, the boss fight itself is...
Lackluster?
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Galactus, but
I honestly liked fighting. Honestly,
This
like
is the
fighting
first time that a
Galactus
Capcom
more.
villain is the final boss, isn't it?
what, do
Technically
you count
speaking,
Marvel vs. Capcom too?
Technically speaking, at least on a partial level, yes. The first, there was Apocalypse, then Onslaught, then that whatever original character not steal for MVC2.
Abyss, his name was
It
Abyss.
was still an original creation, like I don't really count it.
I guess that could technically count as a Capcom character, because Capcom with them.
I really not understood some decision for MVC2, to be honest.
Okay, we rescued Dante.
Am I the one?
And now time for something hype.
Yeah, this actually is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's this time he's actually doing the finishing blow.
Yeah, this is pretty fucking cool.
This is cooler than Mega Man getting the Chaos Emeralds.
A Mega Buster charged by the Infinity Stones. Again, the game needed more moments like this.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Dids. This is cool, but this is not as hype as Mega Man getting the Chaos Emeralds. Like, I mean, it's just essentially an oversized cannon at the end of the day. A cool one, still,
with unlimited power.
I feel like it would have been cool if he had an Infinity Gauntlet armor. Yeah. Like, basically,
Terrence, I have a request for you.
His ultimate armor from X5, but it's, like, pimped out in the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. Also, a nice attention to detail I do like is that if you play as Dante and switch out to Captain Marvel, he calls her Captain Marvelous.
Yes.
He's gonna hit on cock girls.
I like to consider a Super Sentai reference because there is a character named Captain Marvelous.
Sure, why not?
Oh my god. It just hit
it's
me.
kind of weird that gone.
This is Guzzlord. They look like Guzzlord.
No!
Yes!
Oh my
yes, it
god, it's Guzzlord!
Oh.
Yes! Basically
Pokemon,
one of the
Ultra Beast.
Pokemon Ultra Beasts.
Oh, which one?
The
The
dragon
one that
the black
screams.
I'm gonna Google it because I don't remember the design.
Oh, I love Guzzlord.
You're kind of
He's
right.
amazing.
You're kind of right.
Yeah,
It is Guzzlord.
it is Guzzlord. I mean, I prefer Guzzlord, but this is neat too, I guess.
I love Guzzlord. He's great. He's probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
No, Naginata is also really good.
Oh, this.
Here you go, Tia.
I guess. I
You know
guess.
what vibes I also kind of get from that final boss design?
Wolverine, because he has the Sigma claws that resemble Wolverine.
No, Ansem for his final form in Kingdom Hearts 1. You know.
Kinda.
Yeah.
The weird airship fuck up.
Yeah, his
Also,
final form.
he has Gamma's hands.
Gamma from Mega Man 3.
Yeah, or Gamma Sigma from X5. That's definitely Gamma's hands. The coloring.
Considering- Okay, it's a bit of a weird pastiche because Sigma's design is clearly the one of X1,
That's the best one.
but we do reference stuff from X4 and X5, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think one of his alternate costumes is his X5 design.
I don't remember.
I think he has like, it's kind of like in Smash when you have two different outfits. I think his outfit is X1 and X5. Ow.
You
Also,
think that
just
do
spam
more
Soul
damage,
Stone.
but no.
He literally stole
Spam
that
Soul
move.
Stone because you drain his health.
He literally stole that ground pound move from Galactus.
I was gonna say he stole it from Master Hand, but yeah, sure.
I mean, if we're going off of Marvel vs. Capcom stuff, but yeah, like the others have said, fighting this guy is not as fun as he was.
It just seems more like a chore just by looking at it.
Yeah.
He's
Pretty
just a meat
much,
sponge.
yeah. Like, you know, at least with Galactus, you could have cool moves where you could actually break free of his attacks here and there, and you got some cool rebound here and there, and the dodging and the maneuvers, and this is just...
And Terrence is right. Sigma does have the X5 costume.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a good design. It's okay.
Yeah. It's like I said earlier in part 1 when I was speaking positively about this game. The costumes are nifty. Or was that part 4 I mentioned it? Whatever. Sometime earlier in this playthrough, the costumes.
Alright, guys. Chaos Emerald time.
With all your powers combined.
Quick, the main 6. We must use our power of friendship to stop Discord or whatever. I don't watch Milo.
I thought he was a good guy.
Oh yeah, he was.
He
And he
is
marries Pinkie Pie in the
chaotic.
Wait,
No-
what?
Wait, Pinkie Pie?
end. Yeah,
Not
I know she married.
Wait, Pinkie
wait,
Pie
wait.
and not Fluttershy. Excuse me? Screw this.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on, wait.
I don't.
Wait.
Now.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Who married
There's
There's
the
the
armor.
ultimate.
That looks pretty sick.
Dead.
Yeah.
Who marries Pinkie Pie at the end?
I said Discord. but
Who
I'm
cares?
Oh,
What the
him.
fuck are you talking
so
about? I don't
invested?
watch My Little Pony.
Okay.
If it seems strange to you, remember that canonically X actually has a soul.
Yeah, he does.
Yes. Yeah.
So
he
this
does.
this is legit.
Okay,
That's
this
a nice
is cool.
Kamehameha final wave.
Yeah, this is
You know
pretty
what?
cool.
You know what? Congrats, game. You got it. A legit cool moment. I wish the rest of the game was as good as it, but you got it.
Kind of hoped it would be more a la Cell getting killed by the Kamehameha, but this works.
That would have been more
Also,
awesome
that
too.
was pointless, Chris.
Yeah, that's a nice plot point that just kind of went nowhere.
Also, Chris, about it being over, it technically isn't, but we'll let the credits handle that.
Haha, it's funny because Peter's life sucks.
That's so depressing.
Just a broke
I
man
mean,
from
you're
New
not
York
wrong,
is trying to
but-
do good and you get shit on every time.
Yep,
You're not wrong, but still.
because we want to keep the fucking status quo.
Road to hell, good intentions, yada yada.
That's just your thing you're gonna be asking, aren't you, Mike?
Oh yeah, it doesn't let
Yeah,
me.
you think this is gonna be a cliched crossover that everything goes back to normal?
Yeah, at the very end, this tries. Not even kidding. At the very end, this tries to be an origin story for the entire franchise.
I mean,
and I respect it for that.
yeah,
because it's I'm
actually
glad.
gonna say that's actually not a horrible move because they actually don't return the worlds back to normal, so they gotta live with it. That's different, at least.
I'll admit, I do dig this idea of the two worlds being permanently fused here and there.
And remember, by the standards of Marvel, this is a separate Earth. It is canonical in some capacity.
Yeah,
The issue is
you're right.
The issue is that, again, they don't really... God, the frame rate there is horrible. It doesn't feel like they do much with it. It's just, oh, yeah, we'll deal with it as is, but...
It still also doesn't explain a lot of it. If this is the origin point, doesn't explain, how the different characters shows up in the games that are after, in terms of timeline after this.
You know what's sad, Tio? Literally, the comic book for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was a better introduction to them crossing over than this.
It was just like 4 pages. It didn't really say anything about
That's
the
the
origin.
thing, though. It did a better thing actually showing them first meeting than this game did.
I think the trailers for MVC3 did that better.
So, in general, basically.
That's also another thing. Compared to MVC3, these kind of lacked the trailers that had the mini story modes in them. I guess they wanted to save everything for this story mode, but it's lame.
And so our story ends. With the
That's
sun.
it, guys. We did it.
Stick for the credits because
In the end-
it doesn't even matter.
Wow, Kyle Bear got top billing? Huh.
Yeah.
In the end,
Oh,
It doesn't
thank you,
even
we
Denver.
really
matter.
are the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
That
was basically the ending in a nutshell. Yeah.
That was a very bittersweet ending too. Oh my god, that's
Okay, let me put it like this. I think a better ending would have been showing them actually having the world healed and them coexisting as opposed to them just walking away from a bout of ruins, which
that's the Man of Steel approach.
That's the thing. It ends up being an apt metaphor for the game itself. It's like, yes, look at us. We're the heroes. We brought back your favorite
there was actual motion
series.
capture.
Only it's ugly. It's terrible. But hey, it'll be okay. Only it didn't end up being okay.
Is the rest of this video just the credits?
No, there's a post-credit scene.
Okay, Dead.
So
so, final thoughts.
It's
Wait,
also Captain America's theme, so...
Hold on,
yeah,
Dead.
Final thoughts. Shiori, go.
Dead, could you just remind me something? What was the original music playing over the credits?
It was Captain America's theme. Just the bad version.
Actually, no, there were two different... Actually, no, there were two new remixes. There were actually similar, one of Captain America and one of Spider-Man, but we were completely new. Like, we were not actually used in the game. So I guess it was just a minor nostalgia bait. I don't even know why they chose those.
Final thought, Shiori.
This certainly was a fighting game. I mean, okay, is the non-story stuff in general a lot more fun than this?
That's the problem, Shiroi. If I recall correctly, the arcade mode doesn't have character endings, which is sacrilegious, if you ask me. And there's nothing much more than that. Compared to Ultimate Marvel 3, which had Heroes vs. Heralds, the different challenges, and actual character arcade endings. No, in terms of actual content, this is not much.
That's the thing.
Okay.
This feels like the opposite of MUVC3. Like, that thing had just about everything but a story mode.
If the monkey's paw was that we needed to sacrifice the story mode for actually having the game looking better and have a better roster, I guess I would have taken it. I mean, it worked for Street Fighter V by adding the story as a patch post-game, post-launch. So...
but people hated that had to be a DLC add-on.
They didn't need to pay it. Come on, Jova, that's stretching.
Yeah, still, stuff that should have been in the game to begin with.
Still stretching other than the absent Mr. Fantastic in this game. Go on.
Not really a stretch, but go on.
Even in the story, there aren't really a lot of characters here, and the ones that are here don't even look that great. I mean, aside from the costumes, I mean, all their faces look weird. Particularly the human ones. Didn't really like what I could hear of the music, and aside from a couple of scenes and the ending, which was nice, that this wasn't very interesting, and how do you even do that with characters like this?
This game did it.
And that's it. This exists. I don't hate it from what I've seen, but it's like it's kind of like what's it even called? The Team Sonic Racing thing. It's like, okay, well, that happened. Next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is next though? Seriously.
Marcos.
Yeah, I mean, I never got to fucking talk about my experience with the game, so yeah, perfect timing. I played the demo for this game, got bored as shit, and really never looked back. Didn't care about the game or whatever, so, and from what I've seen of this playthrough, I don't give a shit.
You chose wisely.
Yeah, I didn't miss much whatsoever. It looks like shit, plays like whatever, and story's just not that great, and it just feels like it just lacks content and heart and soul and all that shit. That's all I gotta say.
It's ironic because it has the Soul Stone.
That's all I gotta say, really.
Next.
Terrence.
Well, I mean, I saw the trailer when it popped up. I got super excited. Saw Sigma, X, Zero, got really excited. Then I saw the story mode and trailers for the story mode, and I got less excited. And I actually bought, I think I bought the game like 2 months after it came out, and it was already at $20 at a Best Buy. So I played it, I played the story mode, thought the story mode was garbage. I actually got bored of the story mode and just started playing regularly. Then I realized that all the characters that I wanted were DLC, and then I brought the game back.
Good for you.
And then I just started playing Fighters, and I actually need to download Baby right now, so... Fighters is just,
he is out.
if you just want to play a good team fighting game, just play Fighters. It's just Capcom dropped the ball on this, so did Disney. You know, if they make another fighting game, it should just be Capcom Versus. I think it should literally just be called Capcom Versus, because that's their game. Like, just make like Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Engine, but just all Capcom characters, because nowadays licensing is a nightmare, especially... It was easy back in the 90s because Marvel wasn't owned by Disney, and Marvel pretty much put all their, license
They
to
were
every
literally
different company.
warring out for
Yeah.
that.
So, but nowadays it's next to impossible to have your cake and eat it too. So just make Capcom Versus. Have a bunch of Capcom characters, just cross over with each other, and it'll most likely sell like hotcakes as long as it plays like a Marvel Versus. You're good.
There you go, Kaneko, that's the artist from Atlus.
Alright, Tio, you.
Actually, I think we're about to get a post-credit scene, so give me a second. Because it's right after these, I think. Still, Polgar, yeah, since it actually passed it, Polgar is still a terrible rider, if you ask me.
I mean, if Capcom had their own fighting game, you'd at least guarantee Phoenix and Maya.
Yeah, 100%.
Alright, turns
Nick
out
Fury!
Jedi's still alive.
Have you come seeking forgiveness, my love?
Oh no, it's big chunky Thanos. No!
There is no power that can harm me.
Wanna bet?
Yeah, actually the problem, the Satsui no Ado is literally the power of void, the nullification of everything. That is cheating, Rain.
Oh boy, this guy! Oh, look at that!
That is pretty cool.
That is actually
That's-
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah!
Thank
How
God.
you screwed us up!
Only problem is that we don't get to see the outcome. God damn.
That's a fucking
I
shock.
think,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
the-
pretty fucking cool. Fucking
Talk
Thanos
about
doing
a
Hadouken.
tease.
again, it was probably still sequel baiting in that kind of sense. It's just
Oh
that-
my
Yeah.
god! Just imagine like a Akuma infused like Thanos, where
Oh,
he has
God.
like
Cyber
aesthetic.
Akuma was a thing, so...
Yeah. Oh my god! Fuck! That would have been so cool.
Whatever,
Would've.
my turn. Okay, let me see where I can actually start. For the game itself, like I mentioned previously, the controls and the actual gameplay, like I said, I still believe this works better than MVC3, but just because it's on a different level that is more similar to the predecessor. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate worked fine on their own, but because they were again on a different level, they attracted a different kind of people. It kind of with fighting games is kind of acquiring a rhythm in terms of how you play it and how your opponent plays or how the AI plays. So it's all about that. And I do believe this is the most solid part of the game. So if anything, everything else should have been built upon that. But that's where the problem arrived. The budget means that the character design looks not on par, somehow even worse than Street Fighter V. I forgot, was the engine used Unreal 4 for this one? Whatever.
Yeah,
I think,
believe
yeah.
Let me check.
Whatever, in the meantime. I like some of the character designs, I expressed these in the previous parts. Others don't really look good, sadly, even with the fixing.
Yes, it did use Unreal Engine 4.
I get the idea. because
Meanwhile,
it wasn't-
Marvel 3 was using the MT framework engine.
Mhm. The thing is that Unreal 4 has been notorious for being very easy to use as an engine, so I get the idea. I wanted to, use the most easy that it could. I guess it was like one step from being used with the Unity engine. But like I said, I like some of the character design better than others. I like some of the musical theme better than others. I actually think Frank West theme is better than the one that you got in Ultimate Marvel 3, for example. As for Dante's, that's a bit of a problem. The problem with Dante's theme is the fact that, it's cut. I kind of like the idea that it's not super bombastic, but instead goes more for the dubstep vibe. But the problem is that it is cut. It only uses a small piece of the lyrics. And that's kind of the problem, because Devils Never Cry has like a lot. And as expressed on the other group in different occasions with stuff like One Winged Angel, cutting away a lot of lyrics for the remix of a song is kinda like a cardinal sin for me. But let's go inside for the story, why not? Like I said, it's better than the one in Tekken 7, because Tekken 7 is all about having a very small story that establishes one thing, and that Heihachi finally fucking dies, doesn't use all of the characters that are in the roster, and the ones that are ever mini story segments are kind of ridiculized. Yeah, like Eddie Gordo against fucking Lucky Claw. And unlike instead in Mortal Kombat 11, the characters that were relegated then as DLC do not actually get to be fought. So at least I will give the benefit of the doubt that they were not still finished on a playable level, and we're just having the models there for the story mode for the sake of it. But the problem is that, like I said, Mr. Paul is not a good writer and not with a good experience behind it, and after playing stuff like Project Cross Zone, I kind of have a sort of a standard when it comes to writing for crossovers like this, and this is not still on point. There are very good moments for me, but it's still not enough to reach, like a 6 out of 10 in that kind of sense. That being said, I still wish all the parties involved, the people who worked on the game, the big studios behind it, the investors, and also potentially the consumers, could have actually given like a bit more faith to the game to potentially see what it could have become in the future. But literally no one. It became pretty obvious that arriving at a certain point, literally no one in the world cared what the outcome would have been. And thus, the outcome happened. The thing you need to know here is that the DLC characters were Venom, Winter Soldier, Black Widow,
Winter Soldier,
Sigma, and the
Black
Monster
Panther,
Hunter.
Monster Hunter,
and Black Panther. Sorry. So, and even then,
Perfect time for that Black Panther movie, by the way.
Not just that, both Winter Soldier and Black Widow were kinda lackluster. Like Winter Soldier kind of.
Wait, Tia, let's just like try to cut it as short as possible. Though.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. I like Winter Soldier as a special, but as a tag team with Cap, but that's it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I have still a higher opinion than most people on this game. I know that I probably shouldn't, but I really don't care. I still believe that there is potential in this, that could be actually, built upon. But sadly, this was one occasion where, that things could not have turned out. So, as for the future, I'm with Marcos. Capcom needs to do an internal fighting game on its own,
That was me.
on its own. Yeah, sorry. They need to do that because it saves literally everything. Project Cross Zone showcased that licensing might not be really a problem, but I do believe it's better this way because it makes things more local, more focused, and better for everyone. The problem is that both Nitsuma and Yoshiori Ono, having left the company, like I said, means that the Capcom fighting game division is now basically non-existent. We're probably gonna finish support Street Fighter 5, but if they want to launch that fabled Street Fighter 6, we're gonna need new blood, and I get the idea that's gonna be the one thing they will focus on from now on. So
here's what I don't get. Why not just turn Street Fighter?
Let him finish.
Hold on. No, Dad, you want to hear me?
Jeez, Dads, calm down. Okay, here's what I don't get. Why not just make Street Fighter their own personal Smash? Like
King of Fighters for SNK. I get it. But the problem is that it's kind of one of the problems that biting the ass out of companies. Capcom has been a reputation of having so many IPs over the years, so much stuff, that it's literally impossible for them to keep track on all of them at the same time. So they have to sacrifice something in the meantime, and Street Fighter has to be kept, on its own. The closest thing they're doing with Street Fighter is tying up with some minor franchises like Final Fight or Strider, like in case of Street Fighter V. But that's it. We're not gonna turn this into Smash, especially because do not have yet a Street Fighter that has all the characters that have been released up until this point. We do not have their Smash Ultimate equivalent. Sorry.
Well, that's sort of my point, though. Why not just make Street Fighter like, Street Fighter, but you can have other characters from other series join in, so as
because
to
at that point, Jova, it takes away stuff from actual Street Fighter character that only Street Fighter fan would have wanted in. Again, there seem to be hinting of doing something similar to what we're doing with the addition in Street Fighter V, but I do believe Street Fighter should be kept on its own and having a crossover, internal series on its own, to make things again more focused and more clean for everyone. But I'm just rambling at this point. Like I said, I have a better opinion than most people in this game, but it's still not saying much. Next.
Anyway, the game just sucks. Point blank. The roster stinks, the PR was terrible. I have lost so much respect in Combo Fiend for how he handled this whole thing. And yeah, all signs seem to point that they timed this game so that it could come out right at the right time for them to charge for Black Panther to be DLC the next year. Not good. The music is a downgrade overall from the previous game. The gameplay, even though it's the best thing of the game, also feels like a downgrade compared to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The story mode, which was definitely the thing I had the highest hopes for, just point blank stunk. The lack of newcomers is terrible, and also the choice of roster, as minuscule as it is well, okay, for the Marvel side, it's reduced to be MCU pandering overall. For the Capcom side, it's horribly chosen, as we have pretty much stressed over here and there. There's not much more I can say, really, in that regard here. It's just a game that, well, it raised hopes, but it did the cardinal sin of crushing those hopes, and why are you even surprised it was a failure, okay? You would almost think that they were opting for it to be a failure with all the stupid limitations, the reduced budget, which definitely wouldn't have held a candle here and there, the terrible marketing, terrible planning, it's disappointing. Just disappointing. I'll say this. I do agree that a Capcom crossover amongst themselves could work out. That said, maybe a Capcom could cross over with someone else, but as for crossing over with Marvel and by extension Disney, nah, not as they are now. Not as they are now. Maybe later, if they've learned. And they sort of have learned, or rather, they've had Fox material bought up, so now, of course, they'll probably let the X-Men be in there. But this whole experiment just did not work on any fronts. Alright, Dage, go on. Close us out.
Oh, nice. You had 30 seconds to spare. Okay, so,
yeah,
I don't like this
the time
game.
limit was pointless.
I don't like this game. I really tried. I gave it a fair shot. It's the worst modern fighting game I've played. There are some aspects I like about it, but honestly, they dropped the ball. And I do hope that they'll be able to recover. Who knows? Maybe they can make a Sega vs. Capcom one day, or a Nintendo vs. Capcom. Or maybe just the Capcom All-Stars.
Sega doesn't even remember they have Virtua Fighter. What chance do we have, Dad?
Actually, we are getting a new Virtual Fighter esports game.
Supposedly. There was a teaser TGS draw, but I'm not holding too much on my breath.
But yeah, that's a game, a mediocre story mode, and I hope whoever's in charge of Capcom's fighting game division can do a much better job. But yeah, that was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Thank you guys for coming here and guest starring.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to continue the superhero game for Marcos to do Injustice. Goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, that's a good game. Yeah. All right.